In the Hardaway 7T, back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor, y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, we'll greatly appreciate you hitting the thumbs up. Whether it's your first time, if you could do your boy solid and not make it your last time, hit that subscription button as well. Today we here with a boxing conversation from the 154-pound division. Right, we're going to talk about Brian Mendoza and the champion, the king of the 154-pound division, Jermell Charlo. Right, we'll start with Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo was scheduled to face Tim Tszyu in January, but that fight had to get pushed back due to Jermell Charlo hand injury. So Tim Tszyu went on to fight Tony Harrison, right? And the person that everybody thought that Jermell Charlo was being set up to fight, right, was Sebastian Fundora, right? So while Tim Tszyu that junk kicked me out. Now it kicked me out, BC. I wasn't on mute. That thing had kicked me out. My bad. But yeah, we heard to talk about the 154-pound division. We talking about Mendoza and Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo was scheduled to fight Tim Tszyu, but Jermell Charlo had to pull out of that fight for a hand injury, right? So Tim Tszyu went on to fight Tony Harrison. Tim Tszyu went on to defeat Tony Harrison, and at the same around the same time that Tim Tszyu was fighting Tony Harrison, Brian Mendoza was stepping in the ring with Sebastian Fundora. Now it was widely felt around the boxing world. Tay D was good. Tay D, appreciate you sliding through this thing. Tay D, if you could hit that thumbs up. Now it was widely felt right around the boxing world that the match between Jermell Charlo and Sebastian Fundora was evident. Right, that's the fight. If that's the fight, it felt like you know that's the fight it felt like we were going to get. That's the collision course, right? That the 154-pound division felt like that. It was on. Now I did wonder, like I did ask myself, I did ask myself, right? I was like, if they clearly want, they clearly want Sebastian Fundora, right, to fight Jermell Charlo, right? So why did they give Tim Tszyu a shot before they gave it to Sebastian Fundora? It's like Sebastian Fundora is around here fighting a whole bunch of, stay busy fights, right? When he beat Erickson Lubin, I thought that was the time, right, where he became the Mendo, right? But I'm guessing that Tim Tszyu had first deals, so they put Sebastian Fundora in the ring with Brian Mendoza. Now Brian Mendoza is a game opponent, right? But no one really expected Brian Mendoza to beat Sebastian Fundora. I most definitely did bet on him to beat Sebastian Fundora, right? But I took it as a just a flyer type of bet, right? My bet for that fight was him to go the distance, right? Because I won money on Carlos Ocampo going the distance as well. So that was my play for that fight. I would have never ever thought that Brian Mendoza would have beat Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora was actually, he was winning that fight, controlling that fight. But Brian Mendoza, he stayed with it and he ended up stopping Sebastian Fundora, right? So in Brian Mendoza stopping Sebastian Fundora, that made Brian Mendoza, not necessarily the mandatory, but most definitely next up in line, right? Or they put him not if he's not even if it's not next up, but they most definitely put him in that conversation, right? I believe Tim Tszyu is the one, who should be next to fight Jermell Charlo. But like in the perfect world, right? If Jermell Charlo, can't come back in time for whatever reason, I say have Brian Mendoza, I say have Brian Mendoza and uh Tim Zoo, lock horns and go with it, right? But Brian Mendoza, right, he's barking up that Jermell Charlo tree, right? And understandably, right, I don't blame him, right? You just be who some looked at as the best prospect in the world, right? I won't consider Jerron. I won't consider Jerome Booth innocent prospect anymore, right? I would consider for that Sebastian Fundora, right, is probably the best prospect, in the world right now. In the world, right now. So, you just beat the best prospect in the world. Like not in the perfect world, right? I say put Mendoza in there with Tim because the feel around Tim Zoo, right, is that he doesn't really deserve that shot at Jermell Charlo just yet. Now he just beat Tony Harrison, right? He just beat Tony Harrison, right? Which is what solidified him, which is what gave him that rank. But really, the Lugan, I said Lugan, the outside of the Tony Harrison win, which was his last fight, Tim Zoo had zero credible wins, right? AB, the IT was good. Appreciate you sliding through this thing. He said Tim is fighting Ocampo. Don't wonder how that goes. Yep. Appreciate you sliding through. Ocampo, lost to, the Tyrant Inferno, right? So I feel like instead of having him fight Ocampo, right, Tim should go right in there with Brian Mendoza, and the winner of that fight, should deserve that fight with Jermell Charlo, right? But what's good, AB, my guy Teddy? We go read that thing verbatim, right? We go read it right out Brian Mendoza mouth because I really don't want to keep y'all in this thing too long because I got an EP that I do want to talk about. We gonna be here for a minute, right? I'm gonna tell y'all, we go break down, right, how to blow the A side one-on-one today. And how to blow the A side one-on-one. Go feature Lomachenko and Ryan Garcia. Y'all go want to see that one. So make sure y'all, stay tuned for that one, right? But let me read y'all comments real quick so I don't look over y'all comments. And then we gonna go to the actual comments made by Brian Mendoza, right? What's good, D man? Appreciate you sliding through. Shout out my guy Ray. What's good, Core? Teddy. Teddy said Brian can't just jump straight to Charlo rematch. Ramos first, beat him, then you may have something. Shout out my guy Teddy. I actually think with Brian Mendoza being Sebastian Fundora, and I know that they plan, to have this whole big old campaign around Sebastian Fundora. Brian Mendoza beating Sebastian Fundora, man, that messed up a lot of them PBC players. You know what I mean? They messed up a lot of them T PBC players. You know what I mean? Teach was good. Teach, appreciate you sliding through this thing. Teach, glad you can make. He says that WBO they never wanted Charlo to win that belt or intended to be tied up with the PBC all this time. Right? He said Brian versus Tim would be great. Apparently, Tim is fighting Ocampo. Don't want to how that goes. Yeah, Brian versus Tim is the fight that I think was good. Teach, my guy. Teach said T's reaction to the KO. I was here watching that live. Oh, this guy's going to stop Fedora. Oh yeah, dog. Dog, yeah, that joint was like, bro, he knocked it in. That was a fun night. That was a fun night. And I bet on Fundora, but it was, bro, like I love, like, bro, that was fun, bro. That's like stuff you talk about, stuff you didn't expect to happen. That was fun. D man, what's good? D man, appreciate you sliding through this thing. My LDDC brother, what's good, pimping? He said it's crazy early. Okay, my bad, my bad. He said he taking a risk calling Charlo out. Y'all most definitely think he taking a risk calling Charlo out, right? But I really do like it, y'all. Brian Mendoza, I think he pretty good. Like I didn't pick him. I didn't pick him to beat, Sebastian Fundora because who the fuck would, right? It's Sebastian Fundora. But I did, think that fight was going to go the distance. Now I was wrong on both times, right? I was wrong about him beating him, and I was wrong about the fight going the distance because neither of those things happened, right? So I do think, Brian Mendoza deserves a shot for knocking out Sebastian Fundora because we all know that they were setting Sebastian Fundora up, to be the next big thing. They Sebastian Fundora was starting to feel himself so much he called out Earl Spence that one time. Y'all remember that man said I go down to 147 and fight Earl Spence, for the opportunity. Like Sebastian Fundora was really, starting to feel himself. So Brian Mendoza, getting that win, getting that stoppage, although it was a prospect, that was a huge prospect win. You know what I mean? That was a huge prospect win for Brian Mendoza. So I do think, and I tell you this, I almost tell you this, right? I think Mendoza might be right given the situation, the matchup, his experience. Tim Zoo doesn't have a whole lot of experience, right? Brian Mendoza may be a tougher matchup. You know what I mean for Charlo. Now I think the hand speed may become a problem for Mendoza, uh for Mendoza with Tim Zoo. But also I think Tim Zoo's defense could become a problem right in the ring with Mendoza. You know what I mean? Mendoza is a real threat. I do think, he deserves a shot at the title. Uh do I think he deserves a shot at the title next? I mean, I feel like he deserves just as much a shot as Tim Zoo, right? He's been boxing longer than Tim Zoo. He's been in that division longer than Tim Zoo, right? He has a better, or if not just as good of a win as Tim Zoo, right? Tim Zoo got the Tony Harrison win, and he got the Sebastian Fundora win. I think, actually both of those are top five wins in the 154-pound division, right? So they both are totaling around, 100, top five wins in their division, right? So I think you should let those two guys fight, to tell you the truth, like Tim and Brian Mendoza, right? Mendoza calling out Charlo, but I think you should let Mendoza and Tim Zoo fight. You know what I mean? I think that's the fight. I think whoever wins that fight will be the rightful, number one contender and the rightful person to, challenge Charlo. Teddy said, I agree, T style wise. Brian and Tim is a good fight. Tim should fight the guy who beat Fundora over the guy who lost. Facts. He's going to be overconfident by the time he fights Charlo. Right? Like, why is you fighting a loser? Right? Why, even though Ocampo did pretty good too, right? But why is you fighting a loser when he's clearly a winner out here? Right? But let's get to the comments that Brian Mendoza, man. I like Brian Mendoza, y'all. I like Brian Mendoza. I'm gonna be real with you. I do. What's good, Royal T? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, baby. Glad you can make it. Glad you can make it. If y'all could hit that thumbs up for your boy. Ready here for a good time or a long time. I'm gonna try not to have y'all in this thing too long. We've been in here 14 minutes. I know I'm gonna get past 15 minutes, right? So we're gonna try to close this thing up in 20. Because I want y'all to slide through that Devin Haney Lomachenko, how you blow the A side one-on-one. I'm gonna tell all y'all how you have advantages and how you have the A side, right? And how you blow that motherfucker by using, your own ego, right? But I digress. Brian Mendoza wants to get his hands on Jermell Charlo. This is coming straight from the boxing scene, right? Due to the elite level scrappers that reside in each and every weight class, naming one fighter as a division's best, particularly, is an impossible task. In the junior middleweight division, however, Jermell Charlo has separated himself from the rest of his peers. After years of profiling world titles, the truculent historic Houstonian has now reigned supreme as the division's long undisputed champion. But while the 32-year-old has protruded toward the top of the weight class as the man to beat, Brian Mendoza is hoping to lure him into the ring. Charlo, of course, is paying no attention to the perpetual callouts of suddenly surging contender, having suffered a broken hand just a few short months ago. Currently, despite 4 gold trinkets hanging from his arm, Charlo hasn't shown that he's unbeatable, with the undisputed kingpin set to face off against mandatory challenger Tim Zoo. Mendoza looks to his tattered record as it means to explain why Charlo isn't as untouchable as many may believe. This is Brian Mendoza on Charlo and how he feel about the Charlo fight. He said he's already taken a loss. He has bounced back, but I just feel that I'm different. Each and every time Charlo registered an unwanted result, he immediately righted the ship. Mendoza, thanks to his upset knockout win over Sebastian Fundora, has emerged as one of Charlo's natural contenders. Although the 7-round KO shined light on his once faltering career, Mendoza believed that at least certain population of boxing fans do not have an appreciation for his overall skill set. However, if he's afforded the opportunity to prove himself on the grandest stage versus Jermell Charlo, Mendoza is convinced that he's more than capable of shocking the naysayers again. I would love to fight Charlo. People haven't seen what I fully bring to the table yet. So that's what Brian Mendoza, had to say on that Charlo fight. I like it. He didn't disrespect Charlo, right? He had to say, Charlo ain't the real champ, or nothing like that. He basically just said, yeah, y'all saw me beat Sebastian Fundora, but I still got other stuff in my bag, right? This guy, I already got losses, right? So it's things that I could go watch. It's things that I could go watch. It's things that I could go do, to beat him. He's not unbeatable. he's not as unbeatable, right, as everybody wants to say. That's what Brian Mendoza, or that's what Brian Mendoza had to say. He's I like Brian too. He's an underdog. I can rock for a long time. He isn't fighting certain people. It's like Spence versus Ugas. Ugas would have never gotten in the house if he didn't pursue Spence. Remember they wanted him to fight a mandatory. Yeah, facts. Yeah, facts. Because Earl Spence didn't want to fight Ugas. Ugas kept saying it too. Ugas was saying like Ugas knew that Earl Spence wasn't ducking him right, but Ugas was saying it publicly, right, to try to make to try to public pressure Earl into fighting him, which makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? I don't care how if you want to fight somebody, public pressure. David Haney been trying to public pressure Tank, right? People got a problem with. I ain't got no problem with do what you do. But I do like the fact that Brian Mendoza is calling for the guys at the top of the division. My bad. I do like that Brian Mendoza is calling out fighters, you know what I mean, at the top of the division. I would much rather see him fight Tim Zoo, right? I feel like the fight to be had is Brian Mendoza versus Tim Zoo. I feel like that's the fight, right? Before they fight Charlo. I don't feel like right now, I don't feel like either of them necessarily deserves a shot at Charlo, right? But I think out of the two, honestly, I think maybe Brian Mendoza deserves a shot a little more than Tim Zoo, right? But Tim Zoo is, currently in the mandatory position. And if Tim Zoo is about to fight Ocampo, like I seen yesterday, right? I saw yesterday that Tim Zoo was about to fight Ocampo. My guy Tay D came in here and he laid it on the table as well. If Tim Zoo is about to fight Ocampo, I think they should scratch that Ocampo fight swiftly. I think you scratch that Ocampo fight swiftly. You put Brian Mendoza in there and you do it like that because those two are more deserving than in Ocampo fight. That if Ocampo come out there up there and he upset Tim Zoo, then that's different. Then you throw him in there. But Ocampo did, hold his own against Sebastian Fundora. He didn't get the win, but he did, get that distance like I bet on him for, right? So he did hold his own, but he lost, right? Now maybe you get his fight to Ocampo to try to see if Ocampo is where, you know, maybe you give this shot to Ocampo, right? If you want to put a little stock in Ocampo. If Ocampo could come out and he could beat, Tim Zoo, then you got a Mendoza Ocampo situation. Then the winner of that fight probably will be fighting Charlo, right? But I think right now Ocampo kind of just in the way, right? It ain't his fault, right? Because he did do damn good. Because he did do damn good, right? But he just didn't get the dub, right? But I think the fight to make is Brian Mendoza versus Tim Zoo, and I think the winner should fight Jermell Charlo. Quick, what's good? Quick, I'm about to get up better. I ain't gonna hold y'all in here too long, but I am about to hold y'all up on the next stream, right? We're gonna talk about how you blow the A side one on one. If you want to, if you the top dog, right? You make all the money, you make the most money in your division, and you want to blow it. Ask Ryan Garcia and ask Lomachenko, and I'm gonna tell you how in just a second. But I appreciate y'all folks sliding through this thing, spin the harder way, shutting the T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking, and I'm out. Love y'all. Make sure y'all